I mean, I just couldn't resist, could I? I had to watch this thing. I've heard enough about this damn thing from so many people, and I was just tired of being the only person that seems to have not watched this damn movie. No matter how bad everyone keeps saying it is, everyone keeps watching it. And I just needed to see what all of the fuss was about. So this is a film directed by Fred Durst. Yes, that Fred Durst. And it's starring John Travolta. And he plays a character named Moose. Yep, that's his name, Moose. And he is obsessed with a horror actor played by Devon Sawa. When's the last time you saw Devon Sawa in something that was relevant? Devon Sawa had a fairly good career in the 90s with Final Destination and Idle Hands and SLC Punk. And I was a big Devon Sawa fan when I was a kid. And then he kind of disappeared. And I saw him a little bit here and there. I think he was a detective in some movie I watched recently. But nothing really notable. Nothing to really call it a comeback. And I definitely don't think this is the kind of film you come back with. But here's something I'll say up front. One of the reasons I love Nicolas Cage so much is because you never know what to expect from the guy. You could get the worst performance or the best performance, or as I've said before in the past many times, or both in the same film. So I love that he brings his all and just does not give a shit. And I feel like if this was a Nicolas Cage movie, that people would just expect this kind of shit from him. Now, Travolta's kind of been on a downward spiral lately. He gets a lot of shit. I mean, he had his resurgence because he was like the shit in the 70s and in some of the 80s. And then he kind of fell away. Like, he wasn't making a ton of movies that people were big on. And then, of course, he had his resurgence with Pulp Fiction in 94. And then we got a bunch of stuff from him. And then as of late, with stuff like American Crime Story, and the Gotti movie and stuff like that, he's really been catching a lot of flack lately. And this is kind of the crown jewel in that, shitstorm that he's kind of created for himself with his roles that he's taken lately. But as I was kind of saying earlier with Nicolas Cage, like, this is an all or nothing kind of movie. Like, he brought it. He really did try his damnedest with this role. And I'll say, it's a memorable role. Like, you will immediately be able to recognize Moose. If someone put him up on the screen, you know what character that is. You know what movie that's from, like, absolutely instantly. Now, that's not exactly a pro, but I can say that he did give it his all. This is kind of an odd film. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, he's a fanatic. There's not really much to explain as far as the synopsis. Moose is obsessed with this guy. He won't sign his damn autograph, which, even though Moose is clearly slow, I don't exactly know what to say he is. I mean, he's not like full on mentally handicapped, but he almost is. Like, he's really close. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to classify him and do an injustice to those people who are actually that. So I don't know. What do you guys think he is in this movie? I don't think they say for sure, but he's definitely slow. I felt bad for Moose. I really did. He just wanted his freaking autograph. And with a guy like that, I mean, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not here to pretend to know, but I just feel like with people like that, you got to be careful. And there's no reason to be a dick. And Devon Sawa's character in this is a dick. And there's narration in this movie that feels very misplaced. Not even really sure why it's there. It's there for like artistic purposes. It's supposed to bring some kind of like merit to the movie. And I don't really know. It's almost like poetry. It's an odd addition to the film, and I wasn't really sure exactly. I'm guessing it's that character that was taking care of him in the movie, but I don't know. Just being told by her narration, it's just she's telling the story to us from her experiences. With I don't know. It didn't really add anything to the film. And then there's a lot of like there's these segues where in between the transitions of scenes they'll have this like animation, and I think that's supposed to add some artistic flair to it as well. And it wasn't good or bad. It was just kind of like, okay, like it didn't really do anything for me either. Um, Devon Sawa is fine. I mean, he plays the asshole um, celebrity pretty damn well in the movie, and he's a flawed character. I mean, he's not the victim in this movie wholeheartedly. Like he's a dick. He's a cheat. You know, he's got a lot of things going against him as well. So I don't sit there and root for him to get out of this. Not at all. I mean, especially how he treats not only like Moose in this, but other characters as well. So he's not a very likable guy. Moose is really just kind of this character that you are, kind of yelling at the screen like, dude, don't do that. But you know he's going to, and you know where this movie's heading. The ending of the movie actually surprised me. It got a little more graphic than I was expecting it to, and it went in a different direction than I would have expected it to. So kudos to them for that. I don't think this movie's as bad as people are saying it is. I think it has to do with John Travolta's, involvement in the movie. Because as I said, if this was a Nicolas Cage movie, this would just be another Tuesday. Like, this would be nothing. Like, this would just be like, oh, Nick went nuts again. Like, no big deal. Or if it was some other actor, some unknown actor, then no one, people would have watched it and been like, that was stupid. But I don't know. Travolta does bring... It's a memorable character, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to say it's not a compliment, but at the same time, it's kind of a compliment. Because I've never seen a character like this from him. He brought something new to the table from what I've ever seen of him. I'm sure everyone who's done a review on this has probably started their review with something from Tropic Thunder, like you never go full retard. Yeah, he brought it. He probably went a little over the top, but you got to blame Fred Durst here as well. He's the director, rein it in a little bit. There's a couple sequences in particular. Because I do think some of the performance is actually pretty good. His mannerisms, the way that he acts in certain situations, his responses to things. Like, he very much plays a handicapped guy well in those sequences. But then he has, like, these breakdowns and his responses, like his certain responses to things that are just, like, rein it in a little bit. Like, this is getting out of control. As far as like a storyline goes, I don't feel like people could beat the storyline up all that much because it's a Fanatic movie. Like, he's obsessed with somebody. He goes to their house, starts stalking them. Eventually he goes too far. Like, it's the basics of basics. The storyline is as basic as it humanly could get. But that's not truly a fault to the movie because, that's just something we see all the time. So technically it's a bad thing, but as I'm saying, people are talking about this movie like it's the worst thing ever. Like, it's easily the worst. Black Christmas for me was way worse than this movie. I actually got some enjoyment out of this. I thought some sequences were funny. I liked the ending. As I said, it was more brutal than I expected it to be. So is it bad? Yes. Is it as bad as everyone's saying? Opinions vary, obviously. But I don't know. I feel like with a different director, a little bit better of a script, and someone telling Travolta to calm certain scenes down, this could have been. And the look of Moose, I don't know. I mean, I saw a guy look just like this at the Dollar Tree recently, and I actually took a picture of him, and I was like, "Hey guys, I ran into John Travolta today. I mean, he had on like the Hawaiian shirt and the freaking had the the buzz haircut with the long mullet in the back, and he had glasses on. It was really funny. I was like, dude, is this guy like dressing as Moose in this story right now? Is this like a gag? But he was like dead serious, and you could tell he was off mentally. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I went into this expecting to have like a really good time laughing at how horrible it was. Just like, oh my God, what were they thinking? What is this sequence? What is this? How ridiculous is this story getting? The story never really goes anywhere that you wouldn't expect it to. It doesn't try like to take any risks. It's just kind of a very basic story with a memorable, albeit over the top performance. So I don't know. I guess I'm defending it a teeny bit because I don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is. I guess it's not as bad as I was hoping it was going to be. I guess that is what I'm trying to get at. Like, I was hoping it was going to be like really funny bad. Like, this was going to turn into a Room situation or like a Troll 2 or something. And it was just kind of like, I kind of feel bad for Moose, and I like this ending, and the rest of it's just kind of blah or not good or like really bad in moments because of his acting, stuff like that. But just kind of like, that was not good, you know? So I don't know. I guess I just went into this thing thinking it was going to be pure trash. And I'll get comments of you talking about this movie is pure trash. Okay, that's fine. Expectations kill, right? Even bad expectations. Even people can talk a movie really, really high up, and you can go in and be like, it wasn't that good. Like, what are you talking about? And the same can be said of the opposite. You can go into something, people will be like, it's horrible. In fact, I think most movies should be talked about like they're horrible. And then most of the time you're going to come out of it being like, I actually thought it was really good. Like, see some amazing movie and then tell people it's going to suck, and then they go watch it. It'll even be more amazing. Expectations are an interesting thing like that. So it's probably the expectations, but yeah, it's just a very, very mediocre movie with an overtop performance that brings it down even more. So anyway, all right, let me know what you guys thought. Adios.